Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, welcome to YIMI Podcast. I am Nina Nadifa, and today we're going to learn about how to improve English, and how to open the gates by learning English. As we know that English is an international language, so we must be able to know, understand, and speak English well. So that's why today I have a very special guest for all of you, especially for my lovely kids students of the 4th grade, the 5th grade, and the 6th grade of YIMI Elementary FDS Gresik. Selamat datang di YIMI Podcast. Kembali lagi bersama saya Bu Nina dalam YIMI Podcast. Oke anak-anak, di episode kali ini kita akan belajar bagaimana caranya untuk membuka gerbang dunia dalam belajar bahasa Inggris untuk menggapai cita-cita. Nah anak-anak, seperti yang kita ketahui bahwa bahasa Inggris adalah bahasa internasional yang sangat penting sekali bagi kita. Maka dari itu, di episode kali ini, Bu Nina mendatangkan tamu yang sangat spesial sekali, yaitu pembicara asli bahasa Inggris dari negara Amerika Serikat. Oke, welcome Mr. John. Good morning.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good morning to you too.
How are you?
I'm fine, alhamdulillah. How about you?
I'm fine too, thank you. So for the first time, would you like to introduce yourself to our students?
Okay, well, as you know, my name's John, and I live here in Indonesia. I've been in Indonesia for 10 years. I come from the United States of America. I live here with my family, and I really enjoy being in Indonesia.
Oke anak-anak, Mr. John ini datang dari Amerika dan dia telah tinggal di Amerika selama 10 tahun. Dan dia di sini tinggal di Surabaya bersama dengan keluarganya. Oke Mr. John, as we know that Indonesia is a very big country and it has thousands of islands. So have you been traveling all over Indonesia?
Alhamdulillah, I've had a chance to see a number of places here in Indonesia, including Bali and Lombok, Flores, Sulawesi, Kalimantan, and a lot of Jawa, and also Madura.
Oke anak-anak, selama 10 tahun Mr. John telah tinggal di Indonesia. Dia telah berkeliling seluruh Indonesia anak-anak, seperti Pulau Bali, Pulau Lombok, Flores, dan lain sebagainya yang anak-anak ya. Oke, well, I would like to ask you right now is what about the Indonesian traditional food? What do you think of that?
I enjoy Indonesian traditional food. Indonesian traditional food's generally quite spicy, and I enjoy spicy food.
So do you like spicy?
Oh, I really enjoy spicy food.
Jadi anak-anak, Mr. John ini sangat suka sekali dengan makanan tradisional Indonesia, terutama makanan-makanan yang pedas ya anak-anak, karena Mr. John ini sangat sekali dengan pedas. Iya, anak-anak suka pedas juga? Oh enggak. Okay, Mr. John, what materials do you want to teach today?
Okay, well, we've got a little bit of material that might be interesting for you.
Okay,
Let me go ahead and share my screen.
Okay. Oke anak-anak, dengarkan baik-baik ya penjelasan dari Mr. John.
Okay.
Dan nanti persiapkan ya anak-anak, barangkali kalian nanti ingin memberikan pertanyaan kepada Mr. John setelah Mr. John explained his materials, kalian bisa memberikan pertanyaan. Persiapkan pertanyaan kalian baik-baik ya, terutama dalam bahasa Inggris. Bu, kalau misalkan I do not know how to speak English well, gak apa-apa, you can use your bahasa Indonesia. Gak apa-apa pakai bahasa Indonesia ya anak-anak. Persiapkan pertanyaan kalian dengan baik ya.
Alright, so let us begin. Okay, so to start class, we've got a little song. Now here you can read the lyrics for the song. I'll let you look at them for just a minute, and then we'll play the audio and you can sing along. Okay, are you ready? So, we'll start class with that. And moving on. Okay, so we've got some rules to talk about. First, what rule do you think is represented by this picture?
Listen.
Listen what? Aha. Good. You've got to listen to the teacher. Okay, what do you think rule number 2 is? Well, yeah, we've got number 1, listen to a teacher. What about number 2? Let's see. Oh, very good. Thank you.
You have to.
What do you think?
Two.
Number 3.
You have to speak English.
Do you agree, I am? Yes? No? Let's see. All right, very good. Thank you. What else should we do in the classroom? What can you think of as far as for rules for an online lesson? Okay. Okay, let's play a game. What do you think the secret word is? How many letters? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Does anybody have a guess? Let's see. Not sure that's in there. Uh-oh. What's happening? The UFO. Oh, it has a pilot. It's not human.
It's only
It isn't anything. No, it's flying away. What's the word?
question.
Question. And so you've already been introduced by our hostess today that you're going to have to ask questions. Now, before you ask questions, we're going to do some practicing. So, let's see. Let's start with a question. What is? And would you like to give us a question with what's? You, whose name is, I'm sure your name is not what you've written. His name is. How about my sound? Is my sound kurang keras?
Itu yang Zoom atas nama Bu suaranya kurang keras itu barangkali bisa diganti namanya sendiri ya anak-anak. Nanti barangkali Mr. John bisa memanggil kalian, siapa yang mau dikasih pertanyaan. Nah, ini ada Zoom yang atas nama Bu suaranya kurang keras, itu bisa diganti dengan namanya sendiri ya.
Okay. Well, let's have a question with what is. All right? Okay. How about Naira? Can you make a question with what? What as in what is? Can you, what is, and make a question.
Right.
Ooh, the funnest place in America is, in my opinion, the funnest place in America is the beach. Thank you. All right. What should we do next? Choose one, please.
Mbak Nada bisa pilih siapa yang mau dikasih pertanyaan. You can just which one is the right person.
Choose one, please.
Choose the question.
Yeah.
This.
Okay. So all right. So we've got when. How about Vald? Valde, could you ask a question with when? No? How about Ayim? Can you make a question with? Okay, we can't hear you very well, Ayim.
Maybe you can choose another person.
Okay. How about Chester?
Chester.
Chester, can you make a question with when?
Oke, Mas Chester bisa memberikan pertanyaan with the question when.
Okay.
You can choose another person.
I'm going to choose you. Can you make a question with when?
You can
Please?
make a question. That's okay.
Don't think too long.
When do you come to Indonesia?
Ah, that's a great question. I came to Indonesia in 2010. Okay, who of your friends is next?
Okay, you next. Next, your question. You would like to ask a question for Mr. John? No. With the word? What word?
Choose one.
So you can choose which one of the word. Where? Where?
Okay.
So is your question for Mr. John with the word where? Where do you live in Indonesia?
I live in Surabaya. Right.
He lives in Surabaya. What about you, Antara? You can choose which one.
Okay, why?
All right.
Why you go to Indonesia?
Louder, please.
Why you go to Indonesia?
Why did you go to Indonesia?
I came to Indonesia because I didn't know how much of an adventure I wanted.
Do you like adventure?
I thought I wanted adventure. I got adventure.
So like adventure all over the world. And what about all over the world?
I haven't been to many other places.
Many countries too.
No, just three or four other countries.
All right.
So-
All over is in Asia.
Three other countries in Asia and 2 other countries in North America.
That's great. What about the Europe or the Middle
I've
Eastern?
never been to Europe or the Middle East.
Middle Eastern. All right.
Okay. So, would you like to go for, should we do one more round?
Okay.
All right.
Come on.
So, question, you can choose any of these.
Choose. Have you ever?
Okay, very good. Give me your question.
Have you ever eat traditional food in Indonesia?
Yes, I have eaten traditional food in Indonesia. Do you mean food like nasi pecel, rujak cingur?
And as we know that Mr. John really likes traditional food from Indonesia, right? Like pecel, rendang, what else? Nasi goreng
Nasi
with rice.
Mm-hmm. Okay, all right.
Many people like.
Okay.
Okay, what about you? Look at that once more. You can choose which one is the word. How long? How long? So what is your question for Mr. John about how long? Yeah? How long have you been living in Indonesia?
I've been living in Indonesia for 10 years.
He has been living in Indonesia for 10 years. Jadi Mr. John itu tadi sudah dikatakan bahwa sudah tinggal di Indonesia selama 10 tahun ya. Okay, who is the next one?
All right.
Andara? You can choose which one.
Okay.
Nice, what is your question?
How many even you eating traditional?
I've eaten more traditional foods than I can count. I've eaten all kinds of traditional food.
Cannot count.
Traditional food, so many.
There are so many types of traditional food in Indonesia. That's
So many traditional food from Indonesia and cannot count. Karena sangat banyak banget ya yang sudah dicoba. Jadi nggak bisa dihitung, diingat-ingat berapanya. Karena saking banyaknya ya anak-anak ya. Iya. What else?
okay. How about Handaru?
Oke, Handaru, Mas Handaru.
Zaki?
Oke, Mas Handaru mau memberikan pertanyaan kepada Mr. John. Berikan persilakan kepada Mas Handaru untuk bertanya. Iya.
Can we speak Indonesian in which country?
Yes. Oke.
Which one do you want, Handaru? Who, how, do you, are you, have you, did you?
Ya, Mas Handaru. Iya. Ya, Mas Handaru tadi mau bertanya kepada Mr. John. Berikan persilakan Mas Handaru untuk bertanya sekarang juga. Kalau misalkan anak-anak sulit how to speak English, nggak apa-apa, anak-anak bisa menggunakan bahasa Indonesia. And then I would like to translate it in English. Silakan anak-anak persiapkan baik-baik pertanyaannya ya. Oke, dan sekarang Mas Handaru.
Just try.
You just try. Apa ada lagi anak lagi?
Hmm.
Barangkali ada teman lain dari kelas 4, 5 maupun 6, baik putra maupun putri, anak-anak yang ingin bertanya pada Mr. John, bernapas silakan. You can raise your hand. Come on, baby. Siapa yang mau bertanya anak-anak? Boleh pakai bahasa apapun itu ya. Ya.
Naira.
Oke, Naira.
So I have another question about
You can
America.
ask your question to Mr. John, Naira. Yes, please.
So a few months ago, my friend sent me this video that someone hit a people with black skin, and then I don't know, and my friend just typed a chat there said that Black Lives Matter. What is Black Lives Matter?
That's a great question. It's I can't answer it very easily, but people are starting to get really conscious in America that racism is still a problem. In America, we've been fighting racism for a very long time. Racism has its start in the beginning of American history, and people were chosen to be slaves in America partly based on their skin color. People from Africa were captured and brought to America and used as slaves to work on farms and plantations in America. And then slowly but surely, they earned different freedoms. But despite earning different freedoms, Black people have always been treated as second-class citizens in America. And it's been a very frustrating thing. Imagine that you had to have a certificate to enter Surabaya because your skin was a different color. That's the kind of thing that people had to deal with as recently as the 50s and the 60s in the United States, if they were Black. So slowly we're developing, slowly we're growing, but the racism is still there, especially in certain parts of society. And with the death of Floyd George, people really started to get angry about it. Said, we keep talking about not being racist, about being fair to everybody, but it still happens that Black people get treated worse than white people. And the country has just gotten very upset. So many people are trying to get people in general to change, to start treating Black people like normal people. And that's where Black Lives Matter comes from. We're finally starting to wake up to the fact that racism is still a problem and that it really needs to be taken care of. So.
Okay, that's a really great question, Naida. Okay, Mr. John, I ever heard in TV about the racist today about white and Black people in America. It's about the police for white people, and with the Black people, is it not close today?
There are so many different forces, and I'm not really qualified to speak in depth on this, but because I'm the American in the room, I have the burden of speaking on it. There are separations between white people and Black people. People talk about America as being a melting pot where everybody's culture comes together and they all become American. It's not true. America is a lot more like chapchai. You come together, you all get the same bumbu spread on you, but the sawi is still sawi, the wortel is still wortel, and you don't get sawi wortel blending together. And so in America, you've got different pockets of society, different people grouped together with who they're familiar with, people who they're similar with. And that's normal. We're reminded in the Quran that we were created different so that we would know each other. We weren't created different so that we could cheat on each other. And that's the thing that we need to remember. We can be different. But we also need to remember that while we're different, the difference is just so that we can see each other as different. It's not so that we can treat each other as different. We still have to treat every human being as another human being, whether his skin is white, red, black, brown, or any other thing. His eyes are different shapes. His face is a different shape. He's still human. We have a responsibility to treat them like a human.
So now we are as a human being and we are created different, so we should help each other. We should not take a look about the differences about race, religion, and other something like that, right?
Yeah, we need to be very careful about these things. Yes, we have to have our standards. We have the right to our beliefs, but when our beliefs start telling us that other people are not actually people, that's where we have a serious problem. When our beliefs tell us that we can treat another human in a way that's not actually like a human, then we have to sit down and reevaluate our beliefs. So there's history back to the beginning of the world of racism or different kinds of things like this. This is a racist world. There's racism in Indonesia, there's racism in India, there's racism in the Middle East, there's racism in Africa, there's racism in America, there's racism in South America, there's racism in Europe, there's racism everywhere. In America, we thought we were better than racism. And in the last while, we've realized, no, we're not. We're still racist, and we're not happy about it.
So not only in Indonesia, but not only in America, but also in Indonesia, and we have the symbol of Indonesia is Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, and it says that we have different religion, different race, and different skin of color, but we are one, and we should help each other, right? Jadi anak-anak saat ini memang pada viral mengenai rasis ya, tapi itu juga tidak hanya di negara-negara tertentu. Terkadang di dalam kita sendiri juga banyak sekali ada teman-teman yang rasis, tapi anak-anak harus ingat bahwa simbol negara kita adalah Bhinneka Tunggal Ika. Jadi kita tuh di Indonesia kita sangat mempunyai berbagai macam perbedaan suku, ras, budaya, warna kulit, bahkan religion, bahkan agama. Jadi tapi kita harus tetap saling membantu, saling rukun, dan saling menghargai satu sama lain. Okay, now Mr. John, there are 3 students in front of us. Should they ask you some questions, but outside the material?
That's fine.
Okay, Lukita, you can ask the question.
The United States of America is one of my favorite countries. New Zealand is my favorite. I really want to visit America. So John very much my favorite. And what's the most expensive thing?
The most expensive thing in America?
What's the most expensive?
She means that she said that America is one of her favorite country, and she also said that I'm her favorite teacher. So one day she would like to go to America with me, and the problem is she heard that it needs so very expensive. So what do you think about it? What is the most expensive thing to go to America? It's about the flight or the lodging or the foods to live there.
The most expensive thing is if you're going to America by yourself without any specific destination there, which is very difficult, by the way, you have to have a lot of money in the bank. I've heard rumor that they like to see that you have maybe 200 or 300 million sitting in a bank account, static, not anything going on with it. So that's very expensive. Now, it's not money that you have to do something with. It just has to sit in a bank account. It's like insurance. It's your guarantee that you will be able to finance yourself when you're there. Say, if you want to have a 3-month trip to America, the flights, you can find round-trip flights for about 12 million per person.
100 million?
12 million.
12 million.
So that's one person flight.
US dollar.
No, that's 12 million rupiah.
Oh,
That's about $1,000, a little bit less than $1,000 America. But
that is only the flight, or
that's only the flights.
12 million rupiahs.
The visa, I think, is like 3 million. The lodging is very expensive. You can rent a house in America for the same money in 1 month that you can rent a house in Surabaya for a year.
And what about the lodging? You're living in it.
Living in America is quite expensive. Here, if we talk about Surabaya, the rent you pay for a house in Surabaya for 1 year in America is good for 1 month.
Oh my god, so it's really so expensive to live there. Jadi anak-anak, pertanyaan kita adalah, kita bertanya, Amerika Serikat adalah salah satu negara favoritnya Lugita, dan dia juga berkata pada suatu saat nanti dia ingin pergi ke Amerika Serikat bersama Bu Nina. Nah di sini Lugita ingin menanyakan, apakah benar-benar mahal sih untuk pergi ke Amerika? Bagaimana dengan flightnya, penerbangannya, bagaimana dengan makanan dan tempat tinggalnya di sana? Nah, kemudian Mr. John menjawab tadi untuk flightnya saja 12 juta. Kemudian untuk visanya 3 juta. Apalagi untuk the lodging ya, the living, it's more expensive, more than 20 million.
Yeah, it could be
something like that.
Especially if you're traveling.
Dan untuk tinggal di Amerika selama 1 bulan itu sama dengan tinggal di Indonesia selama 1 tahun ya. Nah, jadi memang benar-benar sangat mahal sekali anak-anak. Jadi kalian harus mempersiapkan uang yang cukup untuk pergi ke sana. Bunda doakan kalian bisa segera untuk pergi ke sana bersama Mr. John nantinya ya. Okay, for the next question, maybe Andara, what's your question? Yes.
Good morning, Mr. John. My name is Andara, 11 years old. I am from the 6th grade. I want to be a diplomat in the future, an ambassador of Indonesia for the United States of America. I want to make the relationship between Indonesia and America to be better and better. So, what do you think about the cooperation between Indonesia and America nowadays? Is it going well so far?
I think in general the cooperation between Indonesia and America is reasonably strong. Evidence that I've had an easy time living here in Indonesia. I can take care of all my paperwork very easily. There's the Embassy of America in Jakarta, and there are 2 consulates, one in Medan and one here in Surabaya, and there's also an assistance office in Bali. So by having these many different offices to do work in Surabaya or in Indonesia is one sign of how strong the connection is. If we look at the other side, there are consular offices for the Republic of Indonesia in several cities in America. I think there are 9 or 10 of them. So it's not just one embassy and one embassy. It's embassies, and there are branch offices of the embassies in each of our countries. So we've already got a very strong connection compared to some other countries. I met a man once from someplace in Africa, and his country is so poorly connected to Indonesia that there isn't even an embassy of his country in Indonesia. If he wants to renew his passport, he has to go to India, where there is an embassy for his country. So the relationship is already quite good. And if you want to make it better, there are things that you can do. You can study international relations or hubungan internasional when you go to university. You can attempt to study overseas. You can study communication. There are a number of things that you can do. And it's a matter of finding your way into the circles of people who work in diplomacy. You can also, there are competitions based on the United Nations, Model United Nations, where you can learn about diplomacy in practice with other students. And that's a good way to build up your your CV that will make you look better as a candidate to work for the diplomatic corps here in Indonesia. So
you said that to be a diplomat or ambassador of Indonesia to another country, we should take a study in the university, communication and hubungan international. So what about in my subject? I study at university. My subject is English department to be a teacher. But when I was kid, I really want to be a diplomat, same like Andara. It's really difficult for me to be a diplomat, but my subject is English department at the university.
It depends on what the Dinas Luar is looking for in their employees. So, if you want to be an official diplomat and work in a Kedutaan Besar Republik Indonesia, especially in America, look at the requirements. Look at what, whenever they post a job at a lowongan, look at what their requirements are. Start now and find your way to that. I know Hubungan Internasional is one of the best ways to do that, but there are other ways to do it. Working in international companies, speaking multiple languages, those are all very good ways to help you get in that direction. So, and if you've got a master's degree in international studies or geography, that will help too.
Oke, pertanyaannya sangat bagus ya dari Mbak Andara. Jadi Mbak Andara ini bercita-cita ingin menjadi seorang diplomat Duta Besar Indonesia untuk Amerika ya Mbak Andara ya. Ini sebenarnya seperti cita-cita Bu Nina pada saat waktu kecil. Bu Nina ingin sekali menjadi seorang diplomat, Mr. John. Tapi kenyataan Bu Nina menjadi seorang guru ya pada saat ini. Nah, bagaimana sih caranya untuk menjadi diplomat anak-anak? Bagi kalian yang ingin menjadi seorang diplomat, ambassador of Indonesia for another country. Jadi kalian itu bisa masuk ke kuliahnya nanti tuh jurusan hubungan internasional, the communication, and what else? International komunikasi and something like that.
Business.
Business.
But
International business.
Generally, hubungan internasional is the best way to go. So.
Yang paling terbaik adalah hubungan internasional ya anak-anak. Kalau kalian nanti ingin menjadi seorang diplomat, nanti kuliah masuk ke jurusan hubungan internasional. Nah, kalau misalkan nanti kuliah seperti Bu Nina di English Department, Education, pendidikan bahasa Inggris, tapi ingin menjadi seorang diplomat, ya nggak apa-apa, kalian usaha saja ya. We can try. Kita bisa apply to international company di perusahaan international maybe. Nanti juga bisa akan nyambung dari situ. Okay, for the next question, Mbak Nada, you can please ask the questions.
My name is Mr. John. My name is Nada, 10 years old. I am from 5th grade. English is my favorite subject. I really want to be able to speak English fluently. But what if I don't know or forget the vocabularies? How can I improve my vocabularies of English?
That's a very good question. Thank you. The best way to improve your vocabulary is to expose yourself as much as possible to the language. The more that you listen to English, the more that you try to speak English, the more that you read English, and the more that you write English, the better you will be able to remember your English. And learning vocabulary is, in my opinion, the hardest part of learning a new language. You already know the language of your mother, you know the vocabulary, you know how to express yourself, and when you learn a new language, there's some structure, some grammar to learn, but there's a lot of vocabulary, and you have to learn how the words go together, and that's part of learning vocabulary. And so the best way to learn vocabulary is to just listen to as much material, as much media as you can in English, and practice as much as you can. The more you practice, the better you'll get. There is no substitution for practice. There's no way to do it. There's no easy, quick way to do it. Practice, 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 and more practice. I've been living in Indonesia for 10 years. I've been studying Indonesian for all of those years. and I still have problems. I still sometimes can't remember words when I'm trying to speak in Indonesian. So the other thing is you have to go easy on yourself. You are going to make mistakes. Everybody who learns a new language will make mistakes. Do not be afraid of it. Just accept that you will make mistakes, that you will have to correct them, and that it's okay. Everybody does it. It's just you don't remember making mistakes when you were a little baby, when you were learning your first language. Now you're bigger, you remember the mistakes and you say, oh, no. No. Keep trying. Learn from your mistakes. Make mistakes and learn from them. That's the best thing that you can do. So.
Very great question. Jadi pertanyaannya Mbak Nada, bagaimana kalau kita ingin berbicara bahasa Inggris dengan lancar, namun terkadang kita itu lupa ya dengan vocabnya ya. Kemudian Mr. John bilang bahwa kita harus tetap practice. Nah, kalau misalkan kalian ada kesalahan to speak English about the vocabularies, nggak apa-apa. Jadikan kesalahan kalian itu menjadi pengalaman kalian. Jadi jangan langsung berputus asa. You can try more and practice, right? And what do you think about learning English by watching the movie?
I think it's a great way to learn English. It gives you the ability to listen to the words and watch the situation so that you can become conscious of not just how the words go together, but what people are doing while they're learning, while they're speaking, while they're saying the things that they're saying. I like to bring up the example of a baby. You've got a baby that's 6 months old. It listens to its mother every day, watches its mother every day, and it's absorbing, it's trying to bring in. A baby doesn't, when a baby is born, it doesn't know language, generally. And as the baby is outside of the womb, is watching what's around it, listening to what's around it, slowly the baby puts the pieces together and realizes that when mama's mouth opens and closes and sounds come out, it means something. It's not just sound, but there's a communication in it. If we all take this approach when we're listening to a new language, it will benefit us. We can listen and we can focus. I don't understand it. Okay. But there is meaning in it. What can I catch? Just try. Listen as much as you can. And eventually, will turn in mau kemana, Papa? It slowly the noise turns into language, and you find words one by one. You find words. Oh, I've heard that before. I've heard that before, and it's a process. It takes patience. You have to take your time. You have to be patient, and it's the way it is. So
you mean that for the example, like a baby, the baby learns from the sounds that he listens to, especially for his parents, something like that. Jadi anak-anak itu juga termasuk kebiasaan juga ya. Kalau kita terbiasa mendengarkan sesuatu, pasti kita akan lebih cepat untuk memahaminya. Nah, seperti contohnya bayi itu kan awalnya kan nggak tahu sih bahasa itu seperti apa, tapi dia tuh mendengarkan terus dari orang tuanya, dari orang-orang di sekitar dia, sehingga bayi itu akan mengerti sendiri nanti. Sedikit demi sedikit, lama-lama dia akan tumbuh menjadi balita, menjadi remaja. Dia akan tahu sendiri tanpa harus belajar apa sih ini. Nah, jadi kalian harus practice ya, Mr. John. Oke anak-anak, nah bagaimana pembelajaran kita kali ini? Kalian sangat senang kan dengan pembelajaran yang telah Bu Nina datangkan native speaker from the United States of America. Nah, mungkin lain kali kita maybe you would like to come here one day again.
Yeah.
It's okay. We'll be very happy to meet our students, right? Especially maybe not in the pandemic.
Inshallah.
Jadi inshallah. Oh ya. Oke anak-anak. Jadi Bu Nina persilahkan. Barangkali ada anak-anak yang mau memberikan pertanyaan kepada Mr. John. Silakan anak-anak. you can ask in English. Tapi seperti yang Dina katakan tadi, barangkali kalian ada pertanyaan yang it's really difficult for you to speak English, nggak apa-apa, kalian bisa menggunakan bahasa Indonesia. Then I would like to translate it in English language. Come on, baby.
Andakara.
Andakara, ya Mas Andakara, bisa memberikan pertanyaannya? Yes, please.
Are you like Indonesian people, Mr. Jones?
Do I look like an Indonesian?
No.
Okay.
It's a far away. You are a white Caucasian American.
But sometimes people tell me that I act more Javanese than some Javanese. So I don't know.
I think that 100% so you looks like a Caucasian white American.
I've been told I'm not a white Kool-Aid. So, all right. But I think the question that you meant to ask was, do I like Indonesian people? And yes, I do like Indonesian people. The people are my favorite part of Indonesia. I go, I find some place to be, and inevitably I will talk to somebody and I will have a very pleasant conversation. It doesn't matter who it is. So, thank you very much for your question.
Thank you very much. Barangkali ada pertanyaan lagi anak-anak. You can raise your hand if you have any questions so far to Mr. John.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Yes, please.
I always try this one to learn English. So I watch English movie with subtitle, and the English I write it in book.
Mm-hmm.
And I learn it, and then I watch the movie again, but not with subtitle.
That sounds like a...
So I read the book and then watch the movie, and I say the words. I say the words.
Mm-hmm.
Can I try this to learn English too?
That's a very good technique to use to learn English. The only thing you have to be careful of is sometimes the subtitles, especially on cheap discs here, are not very accurate. They don't... What you see in the subtitles is not always in the sound. If that's the case, be careful. If you discover that the subtitles don't match the sound, turn them off, forget about them. Just focus on the sound. If the subtitles are good and they match the sound, it's a great way to study, copying subtitles down, reading them. If you get so that you can quote a movie as you're watching it, it helps you speak clearly. It helps you use good pronunciation. It helps you also understand the situation in which the language is used. It works very well. My father used the same technique to teach himself Hindi. So it's a recognized good technique to teach yourself a language. Okay, thank you.
So about the English movie with the English subtitle, sometimes the subtitle does not match with the sounds, right?
And you have to be careful. That's bad.
Oh,
So we have to repeat again and check.
yes. You should check about it.
So let's take a question from RQQ Muhammad.
Kiki Muhammad, ya Mas Kiki Muhammad bisa memberikan pertanyaan kepada Mr. John. Kurnia persilahkan ya. Mas Kiki Muhammad. What's your question, Mr. Mas Kiki Muhammad? Atau mungkin ada siswa yang lain yang mau memberikan pertanyaan kepada Mr. John. You can raise your hand, baby. Iya.
Do I like Indonesian food? Yes, I do. I really enjoy Indonesian food.
Yeah, Mr. John really joins the Indonesian food like pecel, rendang, risotto, something like that. Especially for the seasoning, yeah, right? Maybe any question so far? Dari anak-anak yang berada di rumah?
Got What's that, Rido?
Rido, Mas Rido. Silakan Mas Rido.
Huh?
Oke anak-anak, nah bagaimana pembelajaran kita kali ini dengan native speaker from the United States of America? Kalian senang kan? Nah tadi sudah Nina tanyakan kepada Mr. John, barangkali nanti setelah pandemi ini selesai, ketika kalian sudah kembali ke sekolah, kembali belajar ke sekolah, apakah Mr. John nanti mau untuk come here to teach English here, right? Nah ya katanya Mr. John nggak apa-apa, nanti Mr. John akan datang ke sini setelah pandemi. Is it okay for you, right?
Inshallah.
Insya Allah, oke. Anak-anak, jadi pesan Bu Rina, seperti yang Bu Rina katakan tadi bahwa English is an international language. English adalah bahasa internasional yang harus kalian pelajari, karena ini sangat penting sekali di masa depan kalian ya. Terutama ketika kalian nanti sudah lulus kuliah, ketika kalian nanti mencari pekerjaan. Karena persyaratan utama biasanya untuk mencari pekerjaan itu harus mampu lancar berbicara bahasa Inggris. Nah, maka dari itu Bu Rina katakan bahwa kalian harus practice about learning English. Bisa dengan movie with the subtitle English. Tapi kalian juga harus berhati-hati ya. Tadi katanya Mr. John harus berhati-hati kalau misalkan ada English movie with the English subtitle. Misalkan kadang-kadang kan ada subtitle bahasa Inggrisnya yang nggak match ya dengan the sounds-nya. Jadi kalian juga harus berhati-hati, harus mencocokkan ya. Nanti kalau kalian berbeda, nanti kalian akan salah nanti belajarnya. Itu sangat sayang sekali. Nah, pesan Bu Nina, jangan lupa sholat 5 waktu, mengaji, dan membantu orang tua. Dan jangan lupa belajar bahasa Inggris. Oke, terima kasih anak-anak. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.